Alright, so Howie Roseman has been busy, as the Eagles made several roster moves, a few surprising trades, and a couple other overlooked changes. However, now we got a beat writer saying he's hearing Jacksonville's Travon Walker or Miami's Jaelen Phillips are potential targets.
Oh my God! Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm.
What's the procedure, everyone? What's the procedure?
Stay calm!
Yeah, it goes without saying there's a lot to unpack around the Birds. So let's talk about that, the most recent cuts going down, and some unexpected news around the NFC East. But first, let's run it. What's up, guys? Great to be back. Not exactly a surprise, but Howie Roseman is doing what Howie Roseman does. And that's fine-tuning the Eagles roster ahead of the 53-man cutdown. Or maybe more specifically, making trades in the month of August. Because you realize in just this season alone, the GOAT has now placed 5 trades in the month of August. Yet the very realistic part to this is that it's hard to say he's done.
He's doing it again.
Who knows? He very well may be, but I'm curious, which side do you fall on? Do you think that Howie has another move up his sleeve, or do you think that he's done? A little bit more on that in a second. By the way, though, let me know your thoughts in the comments, and make sure to subscribe and turn the notifications on, because if we do get another big move from Howie, I'll be going live to break it all down. I mean, you gotta give it to Howie for the non-stop improvement. It's like he said back in July, whether it's a starter position or the last spot on the roster, he's always gonna try and find the best upgrade when he sees it available. Which is exactly what I would call old friend Fred Johnson when it comes to the swing tackle position. You're probably already up to date on the specifics, but just in case not, Philly is getting a bona fide backup for the price of next year's 7th round pick. Come on, that's practically nothing, and I'm even more hyped to see Frederick's reaction on X with the "let's run it back" take.
To put the word out there that we back up.
Man, I said it last week, but especially for this offense, the swing tackle position was the one spot where it was like, okay, you could probably use a little bit of an addition there, but now with Fred Johnson, the offense is taken care of. After all, 88 yards in the second preseason game against the Browns isn't going to cut it. And it was pretty evident how much or how little guys like Kendall Lamb or Matt Pryor could handle responsibilities giving the QB time. However, you get a guy like Fred Johnson back who knows Jeff Stoutland's system, and anxiety completely goes away. Heck, the dude literally shut down Trey Hendrickson last season.
Let's look at the job that Fred Johnson did last week and has been doing the last 3 weeks. He's going against one of the best pass rushers in the whole NFL. Like, he stops his feet right here. He literally, Trey Hendrickson's feet stop. Jaelen right here, he can go check all of his email and reply to him. Fred's giving him so much time. Like, it's just a consistent thing. He's got an eyeball on the ball. He's got an eyeball on Trey Hendrickson. So he gets off on the snap. This place gets loud in the jungle. But this is one of the best rushers in the entire NFL. You just keep watching him one-on-one all game long against this guy. Not a lot of help. In fact, very little help. So it starts with this set. Watch his hands. See that left hand? It's inside. Now, Trey's going to try and knock his hands off because he knows that's how you get there. But look at him. Just freeze it constantly. Just freeze it when Jalen Hurts releases the ball and see where Trey Hendrickson is. This was a fantastic job last week. Like, look at that left hand right there on the post. Just ride him around the horn right here. All right? Like this one right here, Hendrickson wants to come inside on him. Like, all right, you want to come inside? All right. He can't beat him outside. Now he's going to try to come inside. Knock that hand down. Reset. Knock the hand down. Reset. Jalen back here. Checking more email. More and more time. Look at this. Like, there's not many guys that could do this. Fred Johnson right now could line up and start for over half the teams in the league. Some of them right in this division. I mean, he's playing himself into a starter's role right now. This is fantastic. Watch his feet go to work here. All right? It's play action. Watch him run Trey Hendrickson around the horn. I mean, this was the big shot to Devontae Smith right here for the 45-yard touchdown. I mean, Jalen was all alone right there making that throw. But couldn't have done it without the play of Fred Johnson.
Okay, even that being the case, though, I think we all understand this, but the drop from Fred Johnson, or at least from Lane Johnson to Jordan Mailata to Fred Johnson, is still significant. But it's like Dave Zangaro said, the move is about making that gap as small as possible. And with the Eagles' offense loving to operate with their tackles on islands, if and when they have to start giving help to one side, it really changes the complexion of the offense. Which is honestly why I might say that this was the best trade for Howie Roseman of 2025 so far. Plus, not even 30 minutes later, we got the update that the Birds recouped a 6th-round pick from the Green Bay Packers in 2027 by sending offensive tackle Darius Kinnard their way. Meaning, in a roundabout way, the Eagles got Fred Johnson for the cost of Darius Kinnard. Oh, also, for anyone curious, Fred's contract is 1 year for a little over $1 million, so it's an absolute steal. Granted, I was a fan of Kinnard, and there's an argument to be made that Philly just traded Green Bay a Super Bowl. since, Kennard has been in the league for 3 years now and has won 3 Super Bowls.
We regret this course of action.
I mean, surely no one actually believes in that sort of jinx by letting him go, right? Look, either way, the pros are too advantageous to pass up. Of course, kudos to Anthony DiBona for calling this move literally 2 days before it happened.
Old friend, Fred Johnson, who the Eagles didn't bring back this offseason in free agency. He's not expected to start for the Jaguars. So if you can just say, hey, listen, we've kind of screwed up. Kendall Lamb's not looking like we thought he would. We'll give you a 6th or 7th round pick. And Jacksonville is saying, hey, you know what, we can have just somebody else. We're not going to be a Super Bowl contender anyway. Let's just get value for this guy. It's going to be more than what we get as a compensatory pick if he walks next year or whatever the case might be. So let's just kind of give him back to Philly and get some value there. So those would kind of be the guys that I would look for as far as who Philadelphia could trade for.
Just one more reason you should be following the Ant-Man if you aren't already. FYI, that's at DiBona NFL on X if you haven't hit that follow button quite yet. Anyway, getting back to the passing game and more moves, the Birds got a much-needed addition at quarterback with Sam Howell. Now, part of that is helpful with Tanner McKee suffering a fractured thumb that somewhat surprisingly brings in his availability for Week 1 to question. Although it's like Ian Rappaport shared, the injury isn't major, it's the top of the thumb, and there's no anticipation that Tanner will have to land on the injured reserve. Plus, after digging a little further, it sounds like the Sam Howell trade would have happened anyway. By the way, just in case you weren't up on the exact terms, the Eagles got the quarterback from the Vikings and Minnesota's 2026 6th-round pick in exchange for a 2026 5th-round pick and a 2027 7th. Again, virtually nothing there, but it also speaks to how much the Eagles had confidence in rookie Kyle McCord. Granted, he was better than Dorian Thompson-Robinson, albeit that's not exactly saying much, but Howie Roseman did waive DTR over the weekend. But you could just tell that the Eagles couldn't go into a game with Kyle McCord as the backup. But the question now is, can the Eagles somehow sneak McCord onto the practice squad after they waived him here? It seems unlikely. I'll talk about it a little bit more in a second, but just seeing the way the league works, a rookie there, probably just moving on from it. But still, on the flip side, you got to admit, Howell is some pretty good depth as a QB3. I mean, sure, I'm not saying he's a stud, and he's definitely had his ups and downs. But he's also just 24 years old and has 18 starts under his belt, while showing he's capable of putting together some inspiring efforts from time to time. For example, I think we all remember the 2 games he played against the Eagles in 2023. I mean, even though the Birds won both those games, the former 5th-round pick put up a 73% completion percentage, 687 yards, and 5 touchdowns with only 1 interception. Heck, that was him doing that during a season where he ended up leading the NFL in passing attempts with 612 and also times sacked with 65. Like I say, though, the hope is that we never see Howell on the field, but if we had to, it's at least more assuring somewhat to have a guy who's had a little bit of experience, some success. He's never played with an offense as talented as Philly, so it should be fine. Now look, maybe if you want to make a different move in the secondary, then sure, I could potentially go for that. By the way, a reunion with Isaiah Rodgers would be amazing, but unfortunately, that's not in the same category of what happened with Fred Johnson. Although a cornerback potential who could add some depth and started 17 games under Christian Parker is Denver's Damarri Mathis. Seriously, the former 4th-round pick was good his rookie season in 2022. It's just that he struggled with some consistency, not great I know, and eventually lost his job. So with the Broncos using a 1st-round pick on cornerback Jahdae Barron, it makes some sense that Denver could be rumored or has been rumored to be trying to trade Mathis, and then if they can't, they're just going to release him. Now, I should mention that it sounds like, according to Ben Albright, that Denver did release Mathis, and based on Anthony's comments on Twitter, he'd expect Philly to show some interest in him. Still, it'd be minimal, but his relationship with Christian Parker and more potential there, I wouldn't hate it. Or the other theory that got thrown out there is after the Vikings sent cornerback Mekhi Blackmon to the Colts, could Julius Brents be available? Refresher, Brents is a former 2nd-round pick from 2023 from Kansas State who's 6'3", 200 pounds, ran a 4.5 40, and has a 41.5-inch vertical. Which honestly, in his rookie year, he played fairly well, having 43 tackles, 1 forced fumble, 1 interception, and 6 pass breakups. But then ended up getting injured in 2024 with a season-ending knee injury. So he's coming off of a rehab, there's some unknowns there, but maybe worth a chance. Or perhaps the more likely corner ad is Samuel Womack from Indianapolis, since the 26-year-old was actually a guy Philly put a waiver claim in for last year but got beat out then by the Colts. Here's the difficulty though. With so much potential around various guys and only 53 spots on the team, inevitably there's some decisions that are met with a little criticism, which I probably should have known better when I tweeted out after the Eagles released guard Kenyon Green, saying they practically gave away CJ Gardner-Johnson for nothing.
And here we go.
Yeah, unsurprisingly, quite a bit of emotion got stirred up with that comment. Yet like we've been saying for months now, the trade wasn't an equal skill-for-skill type of trade. This was an addition by subtraction move, and unfortunately CJ had to go. But still, you're right, yes, there's still a few question marks at safety. Although personally, I don't know if this makes me in the minority, I'm still fairly confident in this defense, and even at the safety position, hopefully Drew Mukuba, the hamstring injury there, but I'm still fairly confident. Granted, if you want to make the case or argument that Howie got fleeced by the Texans for the CJ Gardner-Johnson trade, then I also can't blame you.
Nobody's perfect.
I think we forget sometimes, or at least I know I'm definitely guilty of this, but Howie is human. And sure, he's had some pretty egregious misses. It's just the way he regularly handles business that makes it hard to doubt nearly every one of his moves. And regardless, there's no way he'd have taken as long as the Commanders did to get something done with their best player, as Washington finally got a deal done with wide receiver Terry McLaurin on a 3-year extension worth over $96 million in total. Which, first off, Terry got over $30 million per year, so I'd probably say he won the holdout. But also, it's just bad roster management and energy around the team to have something going on like that. Meanwhile, you got the Cowboys, who don't appear any closer to something with Micah Parsons. In fact, Micah took it a step further by removing all of his Cowboys-related content from his social media profiles over the weekend. And I'll admit, at first, I thought, this isn't as big of a deal with the two sides and they'll figure something out. But the longer this thing goes, Adam Schefter's comments about it being personal is becoming extremely clear. As always, I'll keep you updated there because especially, we're basically, a little bit over a week away from the opener. Things are very relevant. Parsons has not been practicing. He's a veteran, so it probably wouldn't take him too much time to ramp up there, but there's other injuries along the lines becoming a little bit of a bigger deal. Just like Cowboys cornerback Trevon Diggs, who did pass his physical, yet it seems like from multiple beat writers around Dallas, Diggs' availability is very much in doubt for the opener. And the same could be said for tackle Tyler Guyton, who's been trying to get in some practices as well. Now, speaking of the opener, I'm going to be drawing for one lucky subscriber to win 2 tickets to any Eagles game, and honestly, I don't know of a better choice than the opener against the Cowboys, so if you want that one, you could win it. Just make sure to like, subscribe, check out the next live stream, because that's where I'm going to spin it. Of course, the next 24 hours are more than likely going to be a bit hectic, but as far as the official cuts as of late Monday, here you go. We start with Jordan Schultz sharing the Eagles are waiving rookie quarterback Kyle McCord after a good training camp.
Do you even watch football?
To be fair, that was probably a line that McCord's agent fed Schultz for the scoop, but not necessarily the best camp. Because judging from the takeaways from multiple beat writers in attendance, they'd say a good training camp is quite a stretch for McCord, like Ed Kracz to name one of them. Although a very interesting and pretty shocking takeaway for me was seeing Kracz's latest article that he's hearing 2 names to keep an eye on for other trade targets for Philly. And those being Jacksonville Jaguars pass rusher Travon Walker and the Miami Dolphins pass rusher Jaelen Phillips. Now, okay, Walker's price would be insanely high, since he obviously was drafted first overall in 2022 and has had back-to-back double-digit sack seasons. FYI, he had 10 last year and also 10.5 the season before that. Of course, the Philly Dog connection makes a ton of sense, everyone gets that, but then the question becomes, okay, legit, how much compensation are we talking about? And Kracz says he's hearing it'd be something like a first-round pick, Kelee, Ringo, and one of the Birds' third-round picks next year.
Where do I sign?
Yeah, you're not kidding, but the argument still, it maintains, or at least it's at the same point of, you have to plan on Jalen Carter's contract and the others in the upcoming seasons. I mean, with Walker being on the last year of his contract and set to make a ton of money in the offseason, maybe the Jags are hungry to get a first-round pick next year since they traded that away this past year to get Travis Hunter in the draft? I don't know, at least he's only 24 years old, so it's a little bit different compared to the Trey Hendrickson argument, but there's still some similarities there. Or there's also Jaelen Phillips, who Kracz mentioned on the radar, as the 6'5", 26-year-old is also on the final year of his contract and has history playing for Vic Fangio in Miami. Granted, his problem has been more so about staying healthy, as he's only played in 12 of the possible 34 games the last 2 seasons. Alternatively, yes, it's true that the positive is that he's not nearly the type of offer that it'd take for Travon Walker, so perhaps Howie could get him for a lesser pick and even be able to walk away from him at the end of the season for a comp pick if the Eagles didn't want to re-sign him. Honestly, that might be my first preference. I mean, I love the idea of Walker, don't get me wrong. He's a stud, ridiculous, yes, it'd be insane for the pass rush, but just long-term ramifications, Nolan Smith snaps, Jalyx Hunt, the potential there, it might be just more inclined, at least me personally, but let me know in the comments. You can totally disagree, totally understand it, but let me know in the comments. Maybe just more so for the depth and getting Jaelen Phillips for somewhat of a rental. Anyway, back to the other official cuts and guys who won't be on the active roster. I already mentioned, but we'll share some again. Quarterback Dorian Thompson-Robinson is waived, along with safety Lewis Seen, as he unfortunately couldn't get any kind of traction to take significant reps. Obviously, guard Kenyon Green is gone, and then Howie also released tight end E.J. Jenkins and tight end Nick Muse, along with running backs Keelan Robinson and Montrell Johnson, as well as cornerback Eli Ricks. Not really too many surprises so far, and also with the late evening wave of cuts, it also included Shunderick Powell, the running back there, safety Maxon Hook, wide receivers Terrace Marshall Jr. and Elijah Cooks, safety Andre Sam, cornerback A.J. Woods, and outside linebacker O'Shawn Mathis. I mean, if anything, it could possibly be an indication that rookie Antoine Powell-Ryland has an outsider's chance to stick after picking up a sack in the final preseason game, but it's still a long way to go. Like I said, we'll keep you guys posted if anything major pops up. It'd be cool if Kyle McCord could stick around in the practice squad. I very highly doubt that, but again, we'll let you guys know. And the same goes with a couple other guys, quite honestly. Also, I know I wasn't able to stream since I was out of town over the weekend, but watching it back, I think the biggest win from Friday's preseason finale was seeing Jake Elliott make not one, but two 50-plus yard field goals. Like, it may go overlooked by some, but with a perfect 5 for 5 on his kicks when you include his extra point, that's the kind of confidence I needed going into the season. Okay, glad to be back. Also, got to thank you guys because we are super close to 136,000 subscribers on the channel. And it's people like Wolfgang and all you other guys who make this thing possible. And by the way, congrats again on winning the signed Saquon Barkley helmet on the earlier giveaway. All right, you guys know this already. More videos to come, more exciting content. Make sure to drop a like on your way out. Make sure you're subscribed, turn the notifications on. I'll catch you on the next one. This has been the Philly Special.
Like I should